Hello everyone, and welcome back to some more Dungeons and Dragons. My name is Ross, or RMcD as always, and we're here with some character creation for the very first time with our wonderful Natalie. Say hello, Natalie.
Hi.
You've never played Dungeons and Dragons before, is that correct?
No,
What's this
I don't even
sum?
know what
You don't know what it means? What do you mean it
I
doesn't?
don't even know
Oh,
what
right.
D&D is.
D&D stands for Dungeons and Dragons. There you go. You
Yeah, I know
solved
that
that.
now.
You solved that first issue there when I just said it 2
Yeah.
seconds ago. Yeah. So you didn't know what it meant before I'd said that.
No.
Okay. Wow. But you have watched some of my footage, is that right?
Yeah.
And have you seen it in any TV shows like Community or anything like that?
No.
Big Bang Theory. They played it in Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. Seen them play in that.
Yeah. So you know some of what you do. You know it's a role playing game. Okay.
Yeah.
So where this story takes place that you're going to be playing with Lauren and Duncan and one other person is basically first what D&D is. I'm going to be the dungeon master, so I'm going to be running the campaign. And what we're running is this little book here, which says The Lost Mine of Fandelver. So this was invented. This was written not by me, so I didn't make it up. Though it's possible to make up your own adventures in D&D, but this was made by the people who made this system we're going to use. So, like, if we want to roll something, if we want to determine how good our character is at hitting someone else, for example, with their sword, if we want to roll, we're going to be using this system to determine how we would see how good they are. You get that? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And feel free to pipe in with any questions if you have them.
Okay.
So in the story, you're going to be playing as a character, as an invention of your own mind, and acting within them as if so. Say you wanted to be a cleric, you'd cast magic given to you by your god, and then you'd role play as if you were on the path your god set you on or something like that. And your god could be any number of things there. I'm gonna. What did you say?
I said okay.
Okay, you just said okay. So
Yeah.
the first thing I think of import is the world where you're creating this character, because obviously different characters for different worlds. If this was an industrialized, early industrial period, you might be steampunky, things like that. You know what that means, steampunk? But it's not. It's a classic fantasy, dragons, knights and shining armor, wizards, sorcerers, that kind of stuff world. Now on your screen you should be able to see it says titled character creation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a little. You don't have to read all that, but just have a wee scroll through that, and it tells you a bit about. You can ignore the stuff at the bottom. The after. I'm gonna just take this out there. That's not important. Ignore after this. So you can read about all the gods and stuff. It's a very condensed summary of the world, and basically where you're going to be starting is in the city of Neverwinter. You're going to have left the city of Neverwinter on a quest for a dwarf, who's going to give you 10 gold pieces for bringing a wagon to a town. Okay, so that's the starting. So if you wanted to create, say, a character who would never ever set foot outside of a desert, right? You couldn't do that there. So that's kind of as allowing you to design a character who's got to have been able to want to go on this quest. You see what I'm saying? And I'll be able to help you that. There are some character default characters that you can play from, that you can choose from, that you don't have to create them yourself, and they come with their own backstory. I don't actually have them nearby, but I could get them out in 2 seconds. But I would recommend we're going to create your character. That's what I'd suggest. Okay. Now, you know nothing of the choices that you have there when creating a character. So, do you know what kind of person you'd like to be? Would you like to swing swords? Would you like to shoot arrows? Would you like to cast spells? Would you like to sing, play instruments, sing? What are you thinking of doing?
I love the arrows.
You want to be shooting arrows?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, to shoot arrows, the best classes. So classes are oh, classes are like your role in the game, but not kind of your role. Role's a bit too specific for what classes are. They're more general in that. Let's see if the player's handbook is a nice explanation of what a class is. Class is the primary definition of what your character can do. It's more than a profession, it's your character's calling. Class shapes the way you think about the world and interact with it, and your relationship with other people and powers in the multiverse. A fighter, for example, might view the world in pragmatic terms of strategy and manoeuvring and see herself as just a pawn in a much larger game. A cleric, by contrast, might see himself as a willing servant in a god's unfolding plan or a conflict brewing among various deities. So kind of things like that. So the class choices there's a barbarian, a bard, a cleric, a druid, a fighter, a monk, a paladin, a ranger, a rogue, a sorcerer, a warlock, and a wizard. So there's a fair amount. For if you want to know anything about those, you can just feel free to ask. For the class you want to do, that's someone who's shooting things. A fighter would be the obvious choice. So that's someone who's skilled with a weapon, a master of martial combat. So they would be able to shoot bows, no problem at all. You can get different kind of fighters. So fighters who rely on their strength, wielding big huge swords, or maybe ones that have rapiers and nimble swords, or ones that have bows and things like that you're thinking of. Alternatively, a ranger is another very common bow wielder. A ranger is described as a warrior who uses martial prowess and nature magic to combat threats on the edges of civilization. So you also get a bit of magic in there. So what do you think? Or you could do a rogue as well. Now they don't wield bows. They wield short bows, I think, and crossbows, hand crossbows. Pew, pew, pew. So those are, and they're more about stealth and trickery and things like that, and sneaking about. So what are you thinking there of those choices?
The ranger sounds pretty good.
The ranger, so one with nature kind of person. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, we'll get to all the stuff you can do as a ranger in a moment, but what we want to think of next, we've got your character concept, someone who's shooting bows and kind of is kind of naturey as well, yeah? Okay, what we want to know is what race are you? So race in this context doesn't mean like black, white or anything like that. It means race as in human, elf, dwarf, something else, a gnome, a halfling. So what are you thinking there about that? And different races have different, abilities. Some can see in the dark. A dwarf can see. Dwarfs are used to living all the way underground. They don't have a problem with the dark. Neither do elves. Elves don't sleep, for example. That's another thing the elves have. And they'll also boost your ability scores, but we can talk about what those
I'll
are.
be an elf.
I want to be an elf. Okay. There are a bunch of different kind of elves. So, as an elf, you're of course going to be, the classic picture of immortal beauty and all that kind of stuff. They're not immortal. They last for like 700 years or something, but they don't die either. It's kind of, in this world, in the Forgotten Realms, they kind of just leave the earth, kind of like Lord of the Rings. I don't know how much you know about Lord of the Rings. Have you seen Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen some of it.
Some, okay. So the different
kind. I did watch the first film, all of it.
Oh wow, okay. Did you not go ahead and watch the second and third?
I haven't got around to it, but I did enjoy the first one.
That's good. Did you watch the extended edition or the normal edition?
The normal edition.
Oh.
I have the DVDs, so.
The normal edition. Better than nothing, I suppose. Okay, so the different elf traits, races, sub-races you can be, so kind of like different kind of elves. You can be a high elf. So, as a high elf, you have a keen mind and a mastery of at least the basics of magic. In many kind of worlds, blah blah blah. So, you could be haughty and reclusive, believing themselves to be superior to non-elves and even other elves, or you could be more common and more friendly and often interact with other races. You could be so what they're good at is being intelligent, really. And they also are a good bit of magic. Or you could be a wood elf. So as a wood elf, you have keen senses and intuition, and your fleet feet carry you quickly and stealthily through your native forests. So you're more in tune with you're wiser. You're kind of more in tune with nature as well. Or you could finally be a dark elf, a drow. So these are kind of evil elves, I suppose, would be the quickest way of putting it. The not nice elves, but they're not. That's putting it too shortly on them. So they're better in the dark. They're not so good in the sunlight. They get disadvantage out in the sun. And they know a little bit of magic as well.
I'll be a high elf.
A high elf, you'll be. So, what kind of high elf are you thinking? Are you going to be aloof? Are you going to be, one of those rangers who marches down and knows they're doing the right thing above and beyond everyone else, or what else are you thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Yeah, go with that one.
So then let's start with your ability scores then. I think that's the next place to go, which I find's best. So again, we're going to be looking at your character sheet and we're going to be looking at the core stats page, okay? So you see that there in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what you get is you see STR, DEX, Con, Int, Wisdom, Charisma. Yeah, you see those things?
Yep.
Yeah. So what those are they're your stats. So high is better, and I'll tell you what numbers you can put in them. At the moment, obviously, there's no number. So going down is strength, which is just how strong you are. Dexterity, how nimble, how quick. And dexterity's got a lot to do with shooting bows. Constitution, which is how tough you are. So it determines your hit points, things like that. You've got your intelligence, that's pretty obvious. Wisdom is more like how good you are at being common sense kind of thing, and also a bit your perception, how aware you are of your surroundings. And then charisma, that's interacting with other people, how persuasive, how good a leader you are, things like that. So what you get to choose is, I've pasted here in chat the stats, these numbers you get to choose. So it's 15, 14, 13, 12, 10 and 8. Okay, so I would like you to put those where you'd like how you imagine your character. So 8 is obviously going to be the lowest. So what is your character worse at, do you think?
What was Dex? Was it Dex?
Dex is dexterity. So nimble, quick. That's your bow. That's going to be shooting your bow.
Well, I need that. We'll go for wisdom.
Wisdom. So you're not as perceptive as some other people. A bit lacking in common sense. So stick your 8 into wisdom then. All you have to do is type it in. So you said your dexterity you want to be your highest then?
Yeah.
Yeah, so put the 15, that's it. Okay, and then you've got, what about the rest of them then? What else do you want to put it in?
Intelligence for 14.
Okay.
What was con again? Was that?
It's your vitality, it's your constitution. It's how tough and strong you are. It affects your HP. So obviously, as someone who's shooting a bow, you might not be melee range. You might not be getting thwacked by a sword too much. But if you are, you do want to have a high constitution. That's.
Okay, done.
Okay, so what did you end up going for then?
Strength is a 12. The Dex is 15. Con is 10. Intelligence 14. Wisdom 8. And Cha is 13.
Cha is your charisma. Yeah, charisma, that's right. Cha. Okay, as an elf, you get some bonuses to your stats there. So just for being an elf, you get a +2 to your dexterity.
Okay. Cool.
So that bumps up to 17. So these, by the way, have a maximum of 20. You can't get higher than 20. Okay. Now, as a high elf, your intelligence increases by 1 as well. So that would put you at 17 dex and 15 intelligence. Now, something to consider is, you know how it says mod? There's a column called mod.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you see how this column called mod. What can happen is that it only changes. Mod is pretty much what everything relies on. So if I wanted you to make a dexterity attack, you'd add your modifier, not your 15. So you'd add +2. Okay. And what that does is that changes every even number when you're above 10. So it might be you see how you've got 17 and 15. It might be wise to put your 15 in intelligence, boost up to a 16, and your 14 in dex, boost up to a 16, because either way, you get 1 extra point. Something to consider, you don't have to do it.
Okay.
So that would boost them. Remember, you get your +2 to dex, boosting it to 16. So go ahead and just change it to 16, and then your intelligence would go to 16 too, because you've put your 15 in there and it gets a +1.
Right, okay.
Okay, let's see here. Yeah. So now we're going to go to the background page. Now, as an elf, well, first off, let's choose your gender then. What kind of are you going to be, male or female?
Female.
Female. Okay, so go ahead and type that in there. Now, an elf typically claims adulthood in an adult name around the age of 100 and can live to be 750. So, what are you? Are you an ancient elf? Are you quite young? What are you thinking?
We'll go young.
Go young. So say 120, something like that.
Okay, 120.
Okay. For your height, elves range from under 5 feet to over 6 feet tall and have slender builds. So you've got a bit of movement there. What do you envision your character's height?
We'll go 5'10".
5'10". Go ahead. And you can roll for it as well. Roll some dice and put it down to chance if you like. Okay. Hold on, I'll tell you what your weight is. So your weight's determined by your height. It would be... Oh, I don't know. I'll work it out later. It's not important. Okay, your eye colour. So there's 2 types of elves in this world. High elves. 2 types of high elves. You've got sun elves and moon elves. Moon elves are the more are the nicer ones, the common, more friendly ones, and high elves are the more haughty and reclusive ones. But a high elf you could still be, or sorry, not a high elf, a sun elf and a moon elf. A sun elf are the more haughty ones.
We'll go moon elf.
Moon elf, okay. So moon elves, also called silver elves or grey elves, are much paler, with alabaster skin, sometimes tinged with blue. So you know what alabaster is? Yeah, it's basically white. They often have hair of silver, white, black or blue, but various shades of blonde, brown and red are not uncommon, and their eyes are blue or green and flecked with gold. So choose whatever you want there. So your eyes are blue or green and they're flecked with gold. But you can, if you want to have some reason for your eyes to be different than that, then that's absolutely fine as well. Feel free to shout.
Do I put my hair colour?
Yeah. So the hair colour, the standard stuff is silver, white, black, blue, but various shades of blonde, brown and red are not uncommon. So again, whatever you feel like.
Cool.
Let's see. Just having a wee search, see if I can't find what a moon elf would look like. Okay, there we go. Let me send that to you. There you go. So that's just, I found that. Just randomly googled moon elf. Kind of give you a concept of what a moon elf would look like.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, cool. Happy with that? Right, let's see. So size, you'll be medium. So put in medium there. And that's part of the game mechanics, how you determine how much space you take up. Vision, as an elf you can see in the dark. So you've got dark vision. So you want to put that in there. And it's 60 foot. So put dark vision 60 foot. Unfortunately, D&D still uses the Imperial system.
Okay.
And your known languages. So straight away, as an elf, you know Common and Elvish.
Okay.
Let's see. and as a high elf, you get an extra language of your choice. So to decide what language, you can of course have a wee look at this on the character creation and scroll down to languages spoken in the northern Sword Coast, which is the part of the world where we are going to be playing in. It doesn't have to. You don't have to choose from that list. You can choose from somewhere else if you want to be somewhere else. So you might want to speak, say, Dwarfish, or if you want to speak, I don't know, whatever you want. You can speak whatever language you want, really, because we can always come up with a story for why you know it. What are you thinking? What would your high elf? Who would your high elf? What kind of races would your high elf talk to when they're out being rangery? Maybe Sylvian. So, do you know what Fae are?
Sylvian?
Yeah. Have you heard of Fae before? Fae?
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So they're basically fairies, kind of woodland fairies, nymphs, things like that. So perhaps Sylvian would be. Maybe when you were out being a ranger, you spoke to the wood elves, not the wood elves, the wood nymphs, and wood spirits, whatever they're called. I'm sure there's a word I can't remember though.
Okay, I picked.
You got myself in.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Great. Okay. And also, as part of the fact that you would know in the world, depends on where you come from. So if you want to minimise your character sheet and have a wee look in the world there, you get a free language from basically wherever you decide to come from. Now, obviously you're not. I don't expect you to be familiar with this world, but what kind of region would you like to be from? As in, like, would you like a desert, a forest? What kind of would you like to be nearby to where the events are happening, or would you like to have travelled a far journey to come here? Kind of things like that, and I'll be able to help you out with what in particular you want. Oops. Oh my god. Sorry guys, I closed out Roll20. Let me just open the back up here. I've never done that before. I promise. I may have accidentally closed out of but we'll pretend that never happened. Sorry. So what were you saying? We've
travelled far.
You think you travelled quite far to get here? Okay, that's cool. Do you know why it was you left your homeland? Were you just getting bored of them? Did you hear of great adventure or?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know her. What one?
I got bored.
You got bored. So you get struck with wanderlust. Okay, yeah. So let's see here. So if you look here on the map, there's a fair amount where these moon elves that would be from. So let's see, where would be the furthest we could stick you on the map? Oh, it's a big, huge map here. Lots of stuff. Even I don't know the half of it, so don't worry about knowing everything there. Let's see. Wood elves common in the high forest. The Dale lands, I don't know where that is. I mean, the high forest is still a fair journey away, down a couple of cities.
Okay. High forest?
High forest, yeah.
Okay.
So as a free language then you'll just get the language that's spoken around the area. So basically the difference between common, almost everyone speaks common, but in the area common's kind of like a rudimentary language. So if you're talking like politically, or if you're talking about art or something, if you're talking about in depth, really you'd want to be using a local language, and people will like talk to you in common, but they'll always feel a bit, oh look, this is obviously an outsider who doesn't know the local language, if you get what I'm saying. Of course, as a moon elf, you'll be an obvious unusual person anyway. Let's see if I can find the languages. I'll put it in later. We can sort that out later. I'll look it up. Just stick in. You've got a free language, and I'll try and get it. Okay, let's see. And your alignment. So your alignment is now your high. So your race goes up the top. You're a high elf, up the top, and you're a ranger. But your alignment is your morality. Would be the best way of putting it. And it's like a like fill that in. So it's basically it's like a square. So you can be good. So there's a good to evil scale. So you can be good, neutral, or evil. And then there's a lawful to chaotic scale. So you can be lawful, neutral, or chaotic. And those are pretty much as they sound. Let's see. Let's see if there's a nice. I'm sure I had a handy little explanation of them. Just give me a second. It's in the player's handbook. So what are you thinking now? Is your character do-gooder? Are they evil? So here we go. I'll just run it through with you to kind of get you a general gist. So lawful good. Creatures can be counted on to do the right thing as expected by society. Gold dragons, paladins, and most dwarfs are lawful good. Neutral good. Folk do the best they can to help others according to their needs. Many celestials, which are angels basically, some cloud giants, and most gnomes are neutral good. Chaotic good. Creatures act as their conscience directs, with little regard for what others expect. Copper dragons. You got that one, okay? You don't want to hear about the neutral? I was about to say copper dragons, many elves, and unicorns are chaotic good, so that certainly fits. So you act within as your conscience directs. So you are a good person. So for example, chaotic evil, those would act with arbitrary violence, spurred by their greed, hatred, or bloodlust. And orcs and dragons, some types of dragons, deep red dragons are like that, and demons as well. Okay, so you're lawful, you're chaotic good, so stick that in there now. You know what, I'll stick in the wee copy paste. I'm not going to hold you to it or anything, it's not too important. It's just something to keep in mind when you're thinking about your character. Okay, so let's see. Now, as a high elf, you also get a bunch of cool statistics. Not statistics, even some bonuses other than we have gone through. So you've got Fey Ancestry, which means you've got advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic can't put you to sleep. So you obviously don't know what a saving throw is, but it's basically, say I cast a spell on your character, or someone casts a spell on your character, you potentially could save against that. And what that does is you roll with your core stats, your dexterity, your strength, whatever I'm asking for, and you try and beat a certain number. So say you've got 12 strength and asked you for a strength saving throw. You do a d20 plus 1, which is your strength modifier, and you'd have to beat whatever I said was the target to beat, so 13, 14, etc. Yeah? So that gives you advantage, and what advantage is you get 2 attempts, basically. You get to try twice to beat it. So I'll put that there for you in your racial traits. And you also can't be put to sleep because, of course, elves do not sleep in this world. What they do instead is they trance at night. So most people need 8 hours of rest to get through a day, but for an elf, you meditate for 4 hours, remaining semi-conscious, and sometimes you can dream and stuff, and you can choose whether or not to dream. Basically, it's kind of like a meditation exercise rather than true subconscious dreaming like humans do. So I'll put that in there and under racial traits for you as well. Just something to keep in mind. Most of the time it doesn't come up except for keeping watches at night, because obviously once you're out in the wilderness, you're out where bandits could attack, you're out where anything could come from the woods. You're wanting to make sure one of you is all awake at all times. You get that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's see. Now, as a high elf, you get your elf weapon training, which means you have proficiency with the long sword, short bow, and longbow. I'll put that all in for you there. Basically, you get different types of weapons, so weapons aren't all the same. You get different kinds, so you get a short bow and a long bow, different weapons. Proficiency means you get to add a bonus. So say I wanted you to attack something, you'd roll to attack, which is a d20, and a d20 is a type. Do you know what a d20 is? What's a d20?
I don't know.
Why did you nod? Why
I
did
just
you?
noticed to let me. Maybe I know something. I don't know. What is a D20?
A d20 is, so a d6 would be a six-sided dice. Yeah, so like just a regular piece of dice. While a d20 is a side that is 20 dice, 20 sides even.
Okay.
I have one of them, but it's in my box. I'm not getting out. And what it's like the fundamental dice of Dungeons and Dragons. So pretty much every single thing I'll ask you to do will be rolling a d20, apart from damage. Not many other things ask for it. So I would go ahead and try it right now. Try roll a d20 in a chat. So what you're going to do is you're going to /R, so type /R for roll, and then space d20. Got an 11. Yeah, so that's it. And you could change that to d6, d542, whatever you want, but mostly using d20. And then if you wanted to roll two d20s, you do /R 2 d20. /R space 2 d20. Wow, 2 14s, that's quite lucky to get the same. So there you go, nice and simple, easy to do. And if you wanted to, because you all have modifiers, so do a /R and I want to say add 5, so you put +5. And let's say you have to beat 50, no you have to do, sorry, so R /R d20 +5. Say you want to beat 15, let's see if you can beat 15. Oh, so you'd have failed whatever I just tried to get you to do there from that. Okay, great. Let's see. And also, as a high elf, you get to cast a spell from the wizard spell list, which is a cantrip you cast. A cantrip is a spell that you can cast as much as you want. While there are more advanced spells that can do more, they've got a limited amount of times you can cast them each day, because they use up, say, your mana or your magical power or whatever you want to think of it like. Okay, but as a high elf, you get a cantrip which you can cast at limited times. So they could be. We'll go over that at the end and see what ones you like out of them. There's a fair choice from that. But now we'll focus on your rangerness. So you still happy being a ranger?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So rough and wild. Warriors of the wilderness, rangers specialise in hunting the monsters that threaten the edges of the civilization. Humanoid raiders, rampaging beasts, and monstrosities, terrible giants, and deadly dragons. They learn to track their quarry as a predator does, moving stealthily through the wilds and hiding themselves in brush and rubble. Rangers focus their combat training on techniques that are particularly useful against their specific favoured foes. And then you can cast some spells as well. Let's see. Okay, so as a level 1 ranger, which is what you start as, your HP, which is your hit points, so how much you can be hit by something. You start off with 10 plus your constitution modifier. So you want to go into core stats again. And then, you see hit points there. So 10 plus your constitution modifier. You don't have a constitution modifier, so it's just going to be flat 10. And I'll probably change that before you guys actually play for the first time, because then I think you'll be too likely to be killed if you do that. So fill in current and max, put in 10 there.
Just put 10 and 10?
10 and
or
10.
10 and 20?
10 and 10. So your current is 10 and your max is 10. So if I see a goblin runs up to you as you're standing there unawares and they hit you with a sword, you'd be looking at doing, so goblins are quite a weak enemy, but for level 1 they're still quite tough. So they'd be, say, doing a d6 to you. So they could do, there you go, I just rolled it there, they did 6, so that brings you down to less than half your HP, bit worrying. So that'll be fine. Well, I'll boost it before because it's actually too low, I think, in this. You also get proficiency in saving throws. So you can see there is a column in your mod that says save proficiency. And all that does is at least you get a bonus to your saving throws, which was spoken about. As a ranger, you get strength and dex. So tick those two boxes. Yeah, you done that?
Wait, what am I clicking?
Strength and dex. It says save proficiency. It says save prof question mark. Yeah, strength and dex.
Dex. Okay.
Okay. Let's see, and then we'll go back to your background there. As a ranger, you're proficient with light armor, medium armor, and shields. So obviously, there's different types of armor. Something like full plate. Have you heard of full plate before?
Yeah, I think so.
What is it then, Natalie?
It's just like the whole big silver one.
Yeah, what knights wear. Okay, wow. I thought you were just saying it. You got me. But medium armor is more, so it might be leather mixed with some metal plates, and then the lighter armor is usually just leather, so hide or something like that as well. For weapons, you get simple weapons, which are like clubs, spears, kind of, standard stuff, and you also get martial weapons. So that's things like so I'll just copy paste that in for you so you don't have to worry about it. But we'll go over the different type of weapons you have in a moment. But those are like more complicated weapons that would need training to use, like longbows, but you get that already because it's assumed you have trained in longbows. And now you also get your skills, so you want to scroll back up and go to the skills page. Now straight away there's a lot to take in here. What skills are is basically they're things that you are good at, better at than some things. It's things you could roll. Say if you were intimidating someone, you'd roll intimidation, so you'd add your intimidation bonus, which you can see there's your total column, to your intimidation roll. For example, you unfortunately are not very good at handling animals because of that low wisdom you've got, so you'd get a negative to trying to handle, say, an angry wolf or something. Yeah? So you get to choose 3 to be better at, to be proficient at than others. So you can choose 3 from handling animal, or animal handling, athletics, insight, investigation, nature, perception, stealth, and survival. And I've copied that in chat for you as well, so you can so you know what I'm saying. So what ones are you thinking then?
I just click yes.
That's what you do. So you click the drop down and then click yes. So what ones are you choosing then?
Survival.
Okay, so that's kind of like, you've been out in the wilderness surviving on your own, tracking beasts and animals and things like that.
So animal handling.
Boost up a little bit from that negative. Maybe you'll be a little bit better.
And let's go insight.
Okay, so insight is kind of reading people and trying to understand people and what they're doing and all that kind of stuff. Okay, let's see. Let me just add this here so that'll work. There you go, your bonuses you'll be coming in correctly. So you see now they've added yes, it's gone up to 11 instead of minus 1 or 9. Now, as a ranger, you get some starting equipment. So this is stuff you start the game with. So obviously you don't start without any clothes on and nothing to your name. You get to choose a scale mail or leather armor. So leather armor is, as we were saying, it's softer, it's lighter. You're less likely to make some noise in it if you're trying to sneak around or anything like that. Well, scale mail is tougher, it's heavier. More noisy, but better at protecting you.
I'll go the leather one.
Yeah, okay. And you can also obviously move around some more in the leather armor. So if you're dexterous, which you are, you probably want to go in light armor so you can jump around and dodge your enemies that way. So go ahead and in inventory, which I've moved your page to, go ahead and type in that you've got some leather armor there.
Okay.
Okay. You've also got a choice of 2 short swords or 2 simple melee weapons. So you can have
Short
two,
sword.
yeah, 2 short swords. You can stab people, double, or you could have 2 simple melee weapons instead. And as I said, I can go through the list of melee weapons if you'd rather have one of those 2. So like examples of simple melee weapons are things like javelins, stuff like that. Clubs, daggers, maces, sickles. Oh, you went for the short swords then. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you also get to choose a Dungeoneer's pack or an Explorer's pack. And basically they come with a whole bunch of stuff that I can tell you about now, or you can just choose based on the name, it's quite obvious.
Explorer's pack.
Okay. So it comes with like a backpack, bedroll, stuff like that, torches, not that you need torches. And finally you get a longbow with a quiver of 20 arrows. So just put longbow in one and then quiver, and you can put like quantity 20. Or arrows 20. Okay, now as a ranger you have a favoured enemy. As I was saying, rangers are specifically set out to hunt one kind of creature basically. So you can choose a favoured enemy. You get to choose it later on as well when you level up, but at the moment you can only choose one, and this is your list here. And you get bonuses there for dealing with them.
Giants.
Giants. Okay, sweet. So you also write that down somewhere in your character. So probably in background or class. Class would be best. So just stick favorite enemy giants. And what that means at this point in your ranger abilities is you have advantage on survival to track these creatures, or intelligence checks to recall information about them. So say, and I'll paste all that in there for you so you don't have to take that in. So say you wanted to know what the sleeping patterns of giants were if you're like outside their camp and ready to like sneak in or something to steal something from them, you could try and remember to see if you know about that, and you'd have advantage in that. When you gain this feature, you also gain a language of your choice that's spoken by your enemies. So in this case, you'll learn giant. And this world, the giant is basically a Jotunhaug, that's the name, but you can just call it giant, doesn't matter whether you call it giant or Jotunhaug. Doesn't bother. Okay. You also are a natural explorer, so you're particularly good at tracking things or moving through a type of terrain. So you're particularly familiar with one type of natural environment, are adept at travelling and surviving in such regions, and you can choose one from this list here. So Arctic coast, desert, forest, grassland, mountain, swamp, or the Underdark.
Mountain.
Mountain. Useful again for tracking those giants. So go ahead and stick that in your class as well. And then so it's favoured terrain, mountain. Okay, and what you get is you get some intelligence and wisdom advantages again, and when you travel for more than an hour in your favoured terrain, you're not slowed by anyone. So, say you're crossing the mountains, obviously quite difficult to cross a mountain. It would take you quite a while to do that. You're not affected by that, so you can make it. If there's a mountain pass, or if you're traveling over a mountain, it's just like traveling over normal terrain for you, and for the party you're with. So, say you were leading Duncan and Lauren and their characters through some mountains, you would take the front and you would show them how not to step, how to step, and stuff like that. And also foraging, you won't starve, things like that. And you can track all our creatures. And that's all you get for level 1. You get more stuff as you level up, like better at using a bow or better at defending yourself. All sorts of stuff you get later on. And you don't get your spells until level 3, I believe. No, level 2, so you'll get them next level as well, and then you'll be able to cast some spells. Though you do, of course, get one from your background, your race. Now, this is quite interesting, this giant. So why is it? What's happened here in your life? Do you know your name of the elf, by the way, yet?
No.
Do you want some elf names? Or do you
Yeah.
want to make one up? Okay, let's see. There's a whole bunch of them. So, elf, female adult names, and female family names. Here's some suggestions from the book. Oh my, that's a lot. Adrialthea, Anastrania, well, Kaelin, Drusilla, Enna, Leah, Nivara. God, those names are a mouthful, aren't they? Thaya. But you can make up your own if you want as well. And you've got your surnames there as well. Naligo.
What's that Leodon one?
Leodon. Liodons means silver frond. That's a surname. So family names are surnames. I mean, you can choose to be known by your surname though if you'd like. Maybe you don't tell people your first name. Maybe that's personal information to you.
Yeah, we'll go with that then.
Just like, okay, so go ahead and Liodon.
What's up for it?
A character's name. So it's not called. It's up the top. Your name's not in that. People don't go, hey, Natalie's character. They say, hey, Liodon, noble and fantastic archer or something.
There we go.
So yeah, so Liodon, tell me how this came to be about your giant hatred and how you came to live in the mountains, or what happened from when you grew up back in High Forest.
They try to kill us all.
They tried to kill you, so the giants came down from the mountains. What do you know why, or is that something you're trying to find out? Why it was they decided to descend, or did you just put it down to giants? Something you're interested in, okay? Killed your family, okay. So you'd say you're an orphan then.
Yeah.
Classic D&D characters. So you really hate giants. Okay, so you've slain. You spend much of your life tracking through the mountains, trying to seek revenge and vengeance for your family. But eventually, you decide to leave the High Forest. Then, so did you get your vengeance, or have you heard information that maybe the giant who started it all left and went, and you're tracking him down?
Yeah. Still looking for him.
Still looking for him. So you've been given some clues, or you've found some information that suggests maybe he's in the crags or the Sword Mountains, which is near the place you're going to be. But obviously, you can't just jump in a random mountain and climb this. You're trying to find some allies or some compadres, or making some money even to buy yourself some winter gear or something. Yeah. Cool. Now we get to choose your background, which is kind of what you did before you became this crazy soldier who's out to... I mean, you could be a soldier before you became a crazy soldier. So your backgrounds, the choices are an acolyte, a charlatan, a criminal, an entertainer, a folk hero, a guild artisan, a hermit, a noble, an outlander, a sage, a sailor, a soldier, or an urchin. So that's basically reveals where you came from, how you became an adventurer, and your place in the world. It's kind of to flesh out your character some more as well. So what one of those do you think you might have been before the giants attacked?
Entertainer.
Entertainer, okay. So let me just... So an entertainer, you thrive in front of an audience. You know how to entrance them, entertain them, and even inspire them. Your poetics can stir the hearts of those who hear you, awakening grief or joy, laughter or anger. Your music raises their spirits or captures their sorrow, and your dance steps captivate. Your humour cuts to the quick. Whatever techniques you use, your art is your life. Yeah, that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds very similar to
Yeah, that sounds like your real life, yeah. So your skills, you get acrobatics and performance as proficient skills. So you want to go add them in. So acrobatics and performance. You are also proficient with a disguise kit. So you want to put that in your background down the bottom. It's a type of tool. If you scroll down. So under there, disguise kit and one type of musical instrument of your choice. There's a list of musical instruments, but if you want to choose something different, I'm not going to stop you. So the musical instruments are in the game. Not that they do anything if you want to change them. Are bagpipes, drums, dulcimers, flutes, lutes, lyres, horns, pan flutes, shawms, and viols. I don't know what half those are.
I put bagpipes.
You play bagpipes, fantastic. Okay, so stick that into proficiencies. You're a bagpipe and elf. I don't know how many people would appreciate your bagpipe musical talents, but nonetheless. Entertainer routines. A good entertainer is versatile, spicing up every performance with a variety of different routines. Choose 1 to 3 of the routines or roll in the table below to define your expertise as an entertainer. So the table, you can either choose 1 to 3 of these, so you could choose just one of that. Say I don't think an instrumentalist would be a musician, or you can roll for it and let the dice decide what you'd be good at, or you can do both.
How do I roll?
So this is a D10. You see, it's a D10 table. There's 10 choices. So exact same way you'd roll a D20, but it's changed. It's a 10. So 4. So you were a jester. How many were you wanting to do? Just one or multiple?
Oh, do I get to pick another one?
You can choose between 1 to 3. So you can just be a jester. You can be maybe a jester and a juggler, or it's up to you whether you want to make another 2 rolls. A tumbler, which is what I just said. That's funny. You're going for all 3, okay. You get the same one. It really wants you to just be a jester. A jester, a singer, and a tumbler. Fantastic. So you sing a song while you tumble all over the place, enacting it. As a entertainer, you've got a feature you can use, which is called by popular demand. You can always find a place to perform, usually in an inn or tavern, but possibly with a circus, at a theatre, or even in a noble's court. At such a place you receive free lodging and food of the modest or comfortable standard, depending on the quality, as long as you perform each night. In addition, your performance makes you something of a local figure. When strangers recognise you in town where you've performed, they typically take a liking to you. So you can come into a new town, go up to the inn, you don't have to pay a penny to stay there. You just start singing and dancing and they'll let you in. So I'll put that in your class abilities. I'll stick that in there for you. I know that's probably due in the bit, whatever. I'm sticking in class. Okay, so you've also got some personality traits. And these go in your background, and these are more a guide how your character acts. So you can roll for these, or you can choose from them. I'll copy paste in. So for personality traits, you choose 2, or roll 2d8. So for example, I'm a hopeless romantic, I'm always searching for that special someone, kind of things like that. What are you thinking?
Let's go 4, 5, and
So you only need to choose 2. I mean, you can choose another one if you like, but you only need to choose 2.
4 and 5.
4 and 5. So you're a jovial elf, is that right? Quite a cheery person. Fantastic. So go ahead and put those into your personality traits then. Okay, so now you get to choose an ideal. So, or you can roll a d6 for it. So these are kind of guides. They're not 100% like you could choose, creativity or people and still be chaotic good like you are. So it's not like 100% it tells you, but it's kind of like a guide again, about your ideal, what you desire, what you believe in.
I just put that in traits again.
That'd go in ideals as a bit for ideals, just below. If you scroll down, see idea just a bit above. It's right below personality traits. It says flaws, bonds, ideals. Yeah. So what one are you thinking of choosing there, or you can roll for it?
Creativity.
Creativity.
Number 3.
Yep, number 3. Cool. So the world is needing new ideas and bold action. Okay. And a bond. So a bond is kind of your connection to the world, something to tie you in there. And again, it's a d6 there, so choose one of those or roll for it. What one are you thinking then? Perhaps really the giants didn't kill your family, that didn't bother you. Maybe they just stole your favourite set of bagpipes. What are you thinking?
Right. There we go.
What one did you choose? You'll do anything self. Who's your hated rival then? Who's that? Is it a fellow magician? Is it an elf? Is it who is it?
An elf.
It's an elf. Okay, from the High Elves. Were they part of the slaughter that the giants wrought, or something else?
Yeah.
Yeah. What, Natalie?
It's a high elf.
It's a High Elf. Okay, and what did they do to you? Is it a friendly rivalry, or is it?
Yeah. Friendly lively.
Okay, so what sparked this? Were you childhood friends? What kind of
Yes.
sparked this? Yes.
Friends.
And then you've what is the rivalry in? Is there a specific field that you're both trying to outcompete?
But who's best at killing people?
Who's best at killing people or killing giants?
Killing anything.
Killing anything. You
Yeah.
sound really really chaotic good to me. That sounds very moral. I can see your conscience coming through. Okay, and you also got a flaw here, so something that's not so great about your character maybe. Let's see. What are you thinking then of those?
Number 5.
Number 5, you've trouble keeping your feelings hidden, your sharp tongue. So yeah, that fits in with your jesterness, doesn't it? Maybe you make a joke in the middle of a tense situation. You've got an envoy. The king is in front of you. It's giving you into trouble for something, and you're like, oh, look at that beard or something. Fantastic. Okay, let's see. Okay, is there anything else then? You also get a trinket, so I want you to roll a D100. So a trinket is a simple item lightly touched by mystery. 71. Okay, 71 is a fragment of a beautiful song written as musical notes on 2 pieces of parchment. So that quite ties. So that's something you've got. You've got a little bit of parchment that you found somewhere that's got 2 notes, 2 written as musical notes even. So you know only two pages of this beautiful song that you found somewhere. So that's something you can work into your backstory if you'd like, or have a wee think about. Am I forgetting anything? Your wizard cantrip. Okay, so as a high elf, you get to cast a spell. You're naturally familiar with magic, and you get to cast a wizard cantrip. So the choices you have are Acid Splash, Blade Ward, Chill Touch, Dancing Lights, Firebolt, Friends, Light, Mage Hand, Mending, Message, Minor Illusion, Poison Spray, Prestidigitation, Ray of Frost, Shocking Grasp, and True Strike.
Firebolt.
Firebolt. Fantastic. So Firebolt is you hurl a mote of fire at a creature or object within the range. You try and hit them. On a hit, the target takes some damage. A flammable object hit by this spell ignites if it isn't being worn or carried. And that's something you can cast at any time. So you want to include that in your spell book. You've got a little spell book up the top. But I'll fill that in for you there. I'll just paste it in and I'll make sure to go back and add all that stuff in. Okay. Anything else then? Don't think so. You're happy, Natalie, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, great. So why was it then that Lyodon, why did she accept this offer from this dwarf? He says, I'll pay you 10 gold per pieces if you help escort my wagon to Phandalin. So he says to you one day. And Neverwinter. You just doing it for the money? Are you interested? Just for the money, okay. It sounds very chaotic, good. Great. Okay. Well, thanks very much for watching, everyone. Thanks very much, Natalie, for coming and making this. You excited about playing with Lyodon?
I like my character.
You like your character? Cool.
I do.
Good. Good to hear. That's the kind of positive attitude we like to hear. Well, yeah. Thank you everyone very much for watching. We had six viewers, Natalie, and we'll see everyone whenever. Should be quite soon. We should start quite soon. Whenever we're just going to need to get organised a time, and then we can start pretty much. And I need to get one other player, but we're going to organise the time first, and then I'll find someone that can fit in. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, everyone. Cheerio.
Bye.